While the crew's in Cape Charles this afternoon, they're probably noticing all of the beautiful crepe myrtles around town. They're everywhere, and there's a very good reason for that, which we'll learn very soon. But first, let's actually learn about crepe myrtles. Here to help with that is the one and only Ginny Rosenkrantz, gardening expert with the University of Maryland Extension Office. Ginny, it is so great to see you. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Always fun to talk with you too, Corey. And I love being able to share my friends. Crepe myrtles are so cool. The best thing about them is they absolutely love all the conditions that we have on the Eastern Shore. If it's hot and muggy, they go, yeah, bring it on. If your soil is really sandy and droughty, that's not a problem. If you have heavy clay soil and you get a little bit of water on it, it doesn't seem to mind that either. So really, this is a plant that really likes to live on the Eastern Shore. Thank goodness.
Now, they come in a bunch of different colors. Does the type of soil in which they live affect which color they bloom?
You know, that's a really good point, because that does happen with hydrangeas. But no, this is all genetically done. Like, for instance, I'm born with brown eyes. These guys are born with the color of flowers their genetics have. So, like, this guy right here is really cool. He's an unusual crepe myrtle where the foliage is actually black. Ooh. They did some cool genetics on that. But the flowers are pure white, so that's why they call this one ebony and ivory. This guy over here is a dark purple, and no matter where you're going to have it, as long as it's in full sun, it's going to give you dark purple. And all the other ones are what they're bred to be, which is nice, because when you want a pink crepe myrtle, you go out and buy a pink crepe myrtle. You plant it in full sun, and you will always have a pink crepe myrtle.
That is so neat. Now, I notice you have shorter plants because you're in your kitchen, but these get pretty tall, don't they?
You know, I'm glad you asked that question too, because it depends on the plant. There are a whole bunch of plants that are very small. They are called dwarf crepe myrtles. The one that was created at the National Arboretum is called Pocomoke, which is pretty cool because we have the Pocomoke River like right in our backyard in a sense. But there's a whole bunch like the Razzle Dazzle series and all, and they stay very, very short. So if you want like a little short shrub, like no taller than 3 to 5 feet, it does stay about that size. But then if you want like a small tree or a large bush, you can get them that could be, 5 to 10 or 10 to, 18 feet tall, something like that. But if you want a tree, you can also get one that gets either 20 to 25 feet or 30 feet tall. So like I have, this guy right here with the white flowers, this is the flower of a Natchez. And beautiful, beautiful white flowers. I just think they're gorgeous. She makes a beautiful vase shape, a beautiful umbrella of flowers. The flowers bloom. This is the coolest part. They bloom 3 times in the summer. They bloom early, and then they stop and make seeds. And then they bloom again. And then right now they're doing their final bloom. And then they'll make seeds. And then the neat thing is then the foliage will turn pretty colors. So these are really, multi-season plant. But if you want to have a pink one, they also have a 30-foot tall pink one. But if you want shorter ones, they have them. So if you don't want a tall tree, get a smaller one. That's the best thing about it. And their information's out there all over the place.
Now, Ginny, my favorite is this black one with the white foliage, the ebony and ivory. And I want to go buy one, but I don't know the best way to find a healthy crepe myrtle plant. What should I look out for?
Okay, what you should look for first is what do the leaves look like? These leaves are really good. I don't see that many critters eating them. Now, Japanese beetles do like the foliage, but they have come and gone, and what we have here is completely free of Japanese beetles, thank goodness. You want to make sure, the other nice thing about the new breeding that they have on all of these crepe myrtles is they're bred to be resistant to powdery mildew. So that's one disease you don't even have to worry about. I noticed that when I look at this plant, I just see that it's very healthy looking. It's got some flowers, so I can tell what color the flowers are going to be. And it just take a look at the bark, make sure that the bark is completely, covered, covering the stem, and you should be good. If this was a smaller plant, I would say take the pot off and take a look at the roots. It's a little difficult to do when it's a larger, in a 2 or 3 gallon pot. But if you pick the plant up and it feels nice and solid, and the foliage looks really good, it's probably okay. And also kind of tip it over to see if you see the roots coming out from the bottom. If you don't see the roots coming out from the bottom, you're probably good to go.
Perfect. And they like full sun?
They love full sun, absolutely. If you plant them in the shade, they're not going to give you these gorgeous flowers. Some of these are spectacular. They're just, look at the colors here. We've got pink and red and pale pink and bright pink and all that. So if they're in the full sun, they're going to be even more powdery mildew resistant. powdery mildew comes along with the atmospheric conditions, which we've just recently had. Warm, sunny days, cool nights, bingo, powdery mildew. But these guys are less susceptible to it, so that they're going to fight it off as best they can.
All right, now the dreaded word, maintenance. How hard are they to maintain?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that too, because in the beginning, when people plant a tree or a shrub, they don't realize that they really have to take care of it as if it's a baby plant. You plant it in the ground. If it's in a 2-gallon container, you want to go ahead and give it water 3 times a week, at least 2 to 3 gallons for 3 times a week for 2 weeks. And then after that, just make sure you give it water at least, well, I would say continue until the fall, 2 times a week. So 3 times a week for the first 2 weeks, and then 2 times a week the rest of the summer into the fall. And then it should be able at that point to have its roots grow out of the root ball and into the soil. It's also a good idea when you take the plant out of the pot, you make sure that you slice the roots on all 4 sides, and that forces the roots to go out and say, hey, I got cut. Oh, I'll explore this side, or I'll explore that side. So it forces them to get out of that little pot where the roots were going around in circles.
Well, that is very cool. Gardening expert Ginny Rosenkrantz with the University of Maryland Extension. Thank you so much to take time to talk to us.
Always a pleasure, Corey. Thank you so much.
All right, Delmarva Life. We'll be right back.